A Wings logo? What the fuck? Welcome back to Fire Footwear, everybody. As always, I'm your host, Matt Freitz, and today we have another review on this channel. Last time, we reviewed the Air Max 1 Pata Chlorophyll. It's a great shoe. I hope you love that review. And today I've got something special for you. We opened the episode talking about no Wings logo. And if we're going to get into that, we're going to talk about this shoe right here, the Air Jordan 1 High Black Toe Reimagined. This is a reimagined look at a shoe that has long been steeped in Nike and Jordan brand history. But this particular shoe isn't exactly the way that we remember it from 1985, and that's kind of the whole point. The Reimagined series has taken a lot of risks, and they have gone after a lot of colorways that we find beloved. However, they have done some new things with them. Some have worked, some haven't worked. In this particular instance with the Jordan 1, I feel like it worked, but that doesn't mean everybody agrees. One of the best things about Air Jordans in general is that there is so much history to go through. And Nike and Jordan brand find themselves in a very advantageous position because they can take just about any piece of that history and put it on a sneaker for us. And a lot of times we appreciate those nods. The storytelling that they are capable of doing surpasses any of the other footwear brands out there. And this shoe right here is a perfect example of that. Let's take the box, for example, or at least the top of the box. This photo right here is iconic. It's iconic because it was an early look at Michael Jordan with the black toes hanging over his shoulder. This picture right here is now one of the most iconic pictures of all time. And this shoe is paying homage to that. And what better way to do that than the box? I think that this box right here is fire, certainly this cover, but the entire box is covered in this look right here. I think it's amazing. Also on the inside, the Wings logo, because remember, the Wings logo wasn't always on the Air Jordan. And with a special note, special attention, M Jordan. To me, those storytelling nods are the best. If you get into this shoe in particular, is it any different than a regular Air Jordan? No. From a technological perspective, and even an aesthetic perspective, it's an Air Jordan 1. Now, the black toe is iconic, and I think the materials on it are actually very, very excellent. Are they quote-unquote premium? Not necessarily, but I feel like I'm getting my money's worth out of this release. The toe box is soft, the leather around the collar is soft. Everything feels good about this. A couple of nods to look at on this shoe. First of all, no Wings logo. We already talked about that. A lot of people felt a way about this, because when we get an Air Jordan 1, we expect to see a Wings logo up here. However, this Air Jordan text, which admittedly I was not a fan of when the mock-ups first came out, is actually paying homage to that picture I told you about. Not always was there a Wings logo on an Air Jordan 1, and this right here is paying homage to that history. Sure, it does look a little bit weird. Not seeing the Wings logo to me makes it almost feel like the shoe is naked. But again, it's history and I like that. One element on this shoe in terms of history that's really difficult to see here, but you'll see in the Glamour shots, is an inscription. And it's Michael Jordan's inscription. And it says, "My very best, Michael Jordan." Once again, that's a history-telling nod, and one that I'm very, very appreciative that they put on this shoe. The rest of the shoe, black tongue. Most people are used to seeing a white tongue with this particular colorway, but here they've given us the black tongue, because again, it goes back to the original way that this looked, and especially in that ad. The last element of this shoe that I think is interesting are the laces here. Obviously, Air Jordan 1s come unlaced, especially the OG colorways. Here, though, you see a couple of lace options, your traditional black and your red. Now, the red is something that you're seeing a lot of people doing. I think it looks fire, but for many, it's almost cliche. To me, it reminds me of when people were putting pink laces in the original Travis Scott 1 High, the mochas. And some might say it's a little bit corny. To me, though, it's taking a risk. And that's kind of the entire point of the Reimagined series, in my opinion. It's about taking risks. Sure, we could just get retro after retro after retro, but would that really do sneaker culture any good? Sometimes it's okay to think outside the box. And these Reimagined shoes, to me, do that. It doesn't mean it's going to hit with everybody. It doesn't mean that every single one of them is fire. But I think taking those risks is important. And I think when it comes to something like a lace swap, that's taking a risk. And to me, for this particular shoe, I actually think that that's embodying the entire point of this shoe. Overall, if I had to say, did I get my money's worth out of this shoe? For $180 retail, I would say yes in today's market. Prices are going up and up for these shoes, and a lot of times we have to look at what did I get for the price. The materials are good, the fit is good, it fits like any other Air Jordan, the history is there, the storytelling is there. And maybe for some people that doesn't matter, but to me, the way that I live sneaker culture, it matters very much to me. Do you own this shoe? Did you cop it? How do you feel about it? Let me know down in the comments. I want to thank everybody for coming to this review. I hope this finds you well and safe. And now, some glamour shots of the shoe. Take care.